Why does no one ever bother to talk about who is behind the deceptions? This is one of the issues I have to take up with the truther channels out there. They all talk about the problems and all the lies and deceptions, but no one reveals the root of the problem and the culprits, aka where the money comes from. There's a whole lot of nothing being said, and no deceivers actually being revealed. But today we're going to talk about that. We're going to discuss what the connection is between hurricanes, weather events, the Weather Channel, television networks, radio stations, media, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare, and the rest, what they all have in common, and how they are taking part in the world that is being pulled over your eyes. So today we're going to discuss BlackRock Inc. and Blackstone Group. Now these commonly get confused and mistaken for each other, but they are not separate entities, as BlackRock Inc. was started under the umbrella of the Blackstone Group. So first, let's break down the meaning, as all names and words have meaning. So we're going to look behind the name of these two entities. So the meaning behind the word black. Black means secret or clandestine. For example, black ops. Now taking a look at the second words, rock and stone. Rock or stone means mason in Freemasonry, really called stonemasons. You'll see it in names across history. For example, Einstein equaling one stone, or with the actress Sharon Stone, who was strategically placed in movies for specific roles to serve their agenda. So when Steve Schwarzman, the billionaire co-founder of Blackstone Group, was interviewed about the names of these two entities getting mixed up, he said that it gave him a real chuckle every time it happened. And they go on to give a story about how they named the second company that came out of Blackstone, which was BlackRock, and said they did it on purpose. But the reason they give is not the real reason, as when we look behind the meaning of these names, it can give us real clues as to what these entities really are. Central Intelligence Agency organizations. So let's talk about BlackRock Inc. So BlackRock Inc. was actually started under the umbrella of Stephen Schwarzman's Blackstone firm in 1988. And here he discusses how he even put up the initial capital as they started this business together. And just to give a quick review for those of you that haven't seen my Hurricane Lane video, where I discuss that BlackRock is the second largest investor in Home Depot, which Home Depot is the #1 profiter in all weather disasters, how they have $6.3 trillion in assets under management, and how they are referred to as the largest shadow bank in the world. And just to show further evidence that these two companies are linked, in 1988, under the corporate umbrella of the Blackstone Group, Fink co-founded BlackRock and became its director and CEO. When BlackRock split from Blackstone in 1994, Fink retained his positions, which he continued to hold after BlackRock became more independent in 1998. Now, it would literally take a full-time job to trace all of their connections, all of their subsidiaries, everything that they're invested in, because the names change. So it's difficult to actually track because of all the different names and companies that are underneath them. But make no mistake that BlackRock Inc., though relatively unknown outside of financial circles, holds the largest shares of the top 299 companies in the world. And I located this article where they did some great work tracking the influence of companies and owners, and they have basically determined that it all comes down to 30 owners. And in these graphs, you will see BlackRock at the top by a large margin of controlling companies in the world. Now we're going to discuss, since we've made a clear connection of these two entities being involved, the Blackstone Group, who was the umbrella company of BlackRock, and its CEO, Stephen Schwarzman. So some interesting things to note about subsidiaries for Blackstone is Emphasis, which is a technology company, Hilton Worldwide, and the Weather Channel. Yep, you heard that right. A subsidiary is the Weather Channel. So we have these two companies that are clearly linked, and we have BlackRock, which is the main shareholder of Home Depot, who profits from weather disasters, also controlling the Weather Channel that reports the weather to you, the false fake weather reports that we get, and they are profiting from it. They also have their hand in just about everything. As you can see, some highlights in here are a pharma solutions company, Legoland, luxury resorts, again, Hilton hotels. They have their hand in basically everything, including SeaWorld. They're also big in real estate, as being a major owner of real estate throughout the US and Europe. And some of the things they have a hand in are La Quinta Inns, Motel 6, Wyndham. And I'm telling you all these because I want you to take note, because at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a solution, which is so rarely seen as well on truther videos. So now let's go back to the Weather Channel. Not only are they controlling the information that's being given to the public about weather disasters and the truth about what's actually happening, they are also involved in owning media companies, radio stations, television networks. Are you starting to see the picture? That everything that gives us access to information is being controlled by basically 30 owners. So they are the ones that determine what we see and hear on a daily basis. So if you are trusting what you are seeing in your television news network shows or what you're seeing on the Weather Channel, then you need to go and look at who is behind it. So not only being able to control and steer the weather, but then controlling the information that gets out there so that their subsidiaries and the companies that they own can profit from the hurricanes and the disasters that happen and the scares that get put out there by channels like the Weather Channel. And another interesting subsidiary of Blackstone is Apria Healthcare Group. Now, Apria Healthcare Group is one of the nation's leading providers of home respiratory services and certain medical equipment, including oxygen therapy, inhalant therapies, sleep apnea treatment, etc. Almost like they knew that the atmosphere and the air we breathe was going to get worse, and they invested in profiting off that as well. Now, this is just a guess of mine, but nonetheless, I think an intelligent guess is if I had to say who is behind the spraying of chemtrails, I would point to companies like these. So what's the solution? What do we do about it? Take a look at what your 401k is contributing to. What companies are you supporting? And stop spending your money to support these deceptions. Take a look at some of these companies that entities like BlackRock and Blackstone own and control, and stop spending your money there. Because as long as you are financially supporting these organizations, all of these deceptions and these crimes against humanity are going to continue. Now, a lot of people like to talk and complain about these problems, but very few people are going to actually take the actions necessary to pull your support from terrible things that happen, like that happened today in our world. And remember, these CEOs and these business owners have often held positions in the government and have close ties to those in the government because they are all the same. It is all one big deception. Now, if you haven't seen my Hurricane Lane video, I highly encourage that you go back and watch that first, as this video goes more in depth to who is behind these deceptions and these weather crimes that happen and how they control the information that gets to the public. So that's all I have for you guys today. Everybody stay safe, be good to one another, and as always, God bless.